This is Arukh Shulchan Yardeh Siman Lameches. We're supposed to be doing today Sif Chaf Aleph to Chaf Hey, but Chaf Vav is last Sif in the Siman, so I think we're going to do Chaf Vav today as well in order to round off the Siman. Chaf Al Ma'aser Shoya Al Re'achut Echad Av. There's this episode which happened with a lung, which there was a one thick string, Kebeis Chutin. There's a chuk of kabeis chutin. It was one string which was thick, as if it was two strings. V'arach, and the length was shir etzba. Doesn't seem very long. They checked it by manipulating by hand. At the head of the string, there was a small bubble, mole mugla, full of pus. And they felt there was blood inside. And this is true about the sinews in the neck. And they cut the string at the bottom. I guess it was kind of like a the sinews with which you tie the Sefer Torah together, right? And tied film together. Which are, I think, nerves. And they cut the string below, at the bottom. Actually, the dam to bug him out. The rosim mishnana loben to see it would change to white. No, it remained black. And these were black threads. I'm not sure he didn't say that before, did he? They remained black. They said the animal's treif. That's the tas. Yes, the string was black. It remained black as it was being with the Prima Garden. And even though by foul we don't really have the same the nuances as we have by the lung of an animal, nevertheless, if you have a maraposel by its lung, so it's the same thing. There's one who wants to say the marak shera gankin have a reusa. A discoloration, even if it's a discoloration which is kosher, is also a flaw. And can make a double whammy, a double flaw. And it's obvious that if you have a invalid countenance, which goes back through inflating the lung, the mark sure to be a valid countenance, but it doesn't look like the lung itself. It joins up to make a double whammy. This is all based on the question which we dealt with a couple of days ago. Why did the Shas have to enumerate the Maras Ksheros? It must be that they are Reusa, even though they're not apostle, but they can make up Tata Reusa as one of the Reusas. But according to which the Shas had to tell us this, not for that reason. It's Arukh explained back there because of various different nuances in color. So therefore, the ancient Maya no evidence to say that a Mara kosher should be considered to be a reyes of flaw. Please according to this buo sircha, if you have a bubble or an adhesion in Mara kasher with a kosher countenance, even though it's a discoloration of the actual color from the actual color of a lung, it should stop in Nikotata. So love, I'm not sure if it's a double whammy or not. Neither Malcolm Epstein Ruba, I think where there's substantial loss, Shasat is an urgent exigency. I make a said somebody who's lenient doesn't lose. If there's a treif countenance on the bubble, on the you have to open the bubble, and take out the pus. And then if the membrane's there, go back to the countenance of a kosher lung, it's kosher. It's simcha kadosha. If you didn't do this, also it's forbidden. It's clear, it's explicitly clear, and seen from the outside of the bubble that the mara is the count of the pus. Let me start crewing, not an issue with the membranes. That's kosher. If you have to inflating it, it becomes a kosher countenance. And afterwards, when the inflation goes down, it deflates. Then once again looks like a Mara Trefa, looks like a Treif countenance. Someone's not problem for us. We already explained the Chol and all matters of lung. We reckon Shina Fucha when it's inflated. Because when the animal's alive, it's always inflated. Chov Gimel. Mara Odomo Medes Labu, if you have a red countenance which is standing on a bubble, otinore, or on a deposit, or mursa, or on a blister, or mugla, or pus. Yesh makab devin neged mara, and there is a wound in the rib cage opposite this mara. You have to close some. Berikwa mugla. They should open these various different issues on the lung, and remove the pus. Because the malaria, if it goes back and looks like a normal lung, kosher. We didn't open it, didn't check. Treifa, and it's treifa. The bush is right. Also, the inflated lung, which has a countenance, which is treif. When they saw she'ena maro medicine mokum echad, they saw it doesn't stand in one place. Moves from place to place. It's kshera. There are near mirrors as seems, and from what we're seeing, it seems she'ena lukusa bekrumim. The issue is not with the membranes, because otherwise it wouldn't be moving. Prakshesha is a mugla tachle. Must say there's some pus underneath. Shenris and koch, which causes this countenance to appear on the surface. But some mugla says that pus moves from place to place. That's simcha rasha. Nevertheless, it's best to open up the membranes and see what's going on. It's been regarded. But if you didn't do it, it's okay. Those who say. There's one who says, if you have a countenance which is treif on the membranes of the lung, where there is no bubble, or mugla or pus, raka, mokum, basar, only places normal flesh, but kofa akrumi in the pillar membranes, and then the countenance left those membranes. Forbid this. It seems like the countenance comes from the flesh, from the flesh of the lung. Was being seen between the membranes. And therefore, it should only be considered to be something missing inside the kind of lotion which you hold is not considered to be something missing. Here it's different. This is a flaw. All this says is astonishing. If there's no inherent discoloration in the krumim, in the memory, someone not should fall. Why would I say it's treif? We don't see any place who says this. The bracket says, "It's still swad." Tomorrow, the solution swad is astonished at the simcha chadasha. Mashkotzev she'ain sefer mishmeres habayis. That what you say? You didn't see the mishmeres habayis. It's anyway say mishmeres habayis ain't built up. Let me say we have mishmeres habayis, and it doesn't have anything about this. Chavei im yesh al rea kemo nekudos adumos. If on the lung there are things like red splotches, certainly dog achar nekoim mokom and mimos. You have to check if there are holes where the red exists. Being low but you didn't check, also it's forbidden. However, in the places where it's prevalent to find red dots on the lung, you check several times, the limits are coming, you didn't find holes. Even though it's appropriate to check all the time, by accident, you didn't check at one point, because these are prevalent and normal in that location. All these laws of these countenances, they apply also to non-domesticated animals and birds. If you don't have to check them in a bird. But in a behema or a chaya, when you check it when the lung is still inside, Muchev is an expert who he can feel by manipulating the lung. Wow. This is the opposite of cholam roim as the kolos. Here they can feel the discoloration. Because the place where the countenance changes, the countenance is different inconsistent, I guess, in texture and consistency. In other places, Makoma explains. Shai Makoma Saray in other places, from other places in the lung, either in the heat of that location, or the cold location, or chalakos, or the smooth of that location, come on, rear, like saliva, or biaboshes, or in the dryness of the situation. Osmotia Saray Baroa, then, if you find that, then you can take out the lung and check it further. That's the simcha dasha. He says the dam. By blood clots are prevalent. Veneer adam looks like red or shachar or black. Base shchita, and it comes actually from the base shchita from the neck. You don't have to check. Some is an expert at birds know this happens all the time. Kashim nature eno elamachmat soros hadami bezeshchita, and it's kosher because it only comes as a bout of the dried up blood, I guess. Soros hadam, the pebbles of blood, literally, which come from the base of shchita. As we shall soon get I guess to. No, that's it. Anyway, that's the Levushei Swad and the Siman Chadasha. And that's it for the Sif and for the Siman.